Why is it that sometimes IBS flare-up symptoms seem to happen even when you think and you believe you're doing everything right? If this is happening to you or you're thinking that, you're not alone. It's one of the most common questions that I get asked off men about this exact same thing, and that needs covering. If you're new to this channel, my name is Glenn. I suffered and battled with IBS silently for over 10 years, over a decade, while serving in the military and trying to be a commander and a leader. Roll forward to today, I have what's known as IBS mastery, using a structured, scientifically backed system. And along with my wife, Charlie Jean, we help men just like you achieve what we call IBS mastery, symptom-free most of the time so you can get on with your life. Let's dive in and unpack this great question. Stefan, why do my symptoms constantly seem like they're flaring up randomly, even though I'm doing everything right? It's a good question, and it's difficult to answer specifically for you, tailored to you, because when you say that you are doing everything correctly, what does that mean? And are you doing everything correctly? And again, I don't say that to be mean, but are you, what have you done in the past? Have you been to see a health professional? Have you got the diagnosis that I mentioned before? Have you then worked with another health professional subsequently from getting the diagnosis, such as a registered dietitian? Do you know what I mean? So have you read the right books? Have you listened to the right podcasts and putting the correct information in place to move forward as a man with IBS? I'm going to guess, and again, I say this not to be mean, but just guessing that there's going to be a no somewhere along the lines there. So you've got to plug that in. And even if you are, listen, it's not just food. And there's another question we're going to come on to about stress in a minute. It's not just food. A lot of men think it's food. So I'm going to avoid onions and garlic and FODMAPs and all this different stuff. And you need to get help with that. So that's the first part. And that is part of the management process. I'm not saying eliminate that. Don't bother with that. You absolutely need to do that. You'd be crazy not to, because remember, there's what's going on upside in your mind, and there's also in your stomach. So, yeah. So why do they happen randomly? Well, there's other triggers, isn't there? Stress. Stefan, are you stressed out? What's happening at work? Have you been fired lately? Are you unemployed and money is an issue and it's causing stress, and maybe it's causing arguments at home with you and your partner? Is it that your partner split up with you because of IBS? I've had that experience before in terms of clients that we've worked with where that's happened to them, where I think back to a call a couple of years ago now with a man, a really nice chap. His brother was in the Royal Navy. Amazing conversation we had, and it was devastating to hear his story about his ex-wife or girlfriend, ex-missus, that she used to belittle him because of his IBS symptoms. Take the piss. How bad is that? Yeah, and I used to get that as well from my ex-wife. That's one of the reasons of many. She's an ex-wife. She used to take the piss. That's not somebody that loves you and cares about you, is it? So it's good riddance. Dodged a bullet. But in terms of other things that are going on there, he shared with me that she was then sleeping with his best friend behind his back because he wasn't as active or as, in her mind, as what he was when he first met her because of this IBS bubble that he was in. So she was sneaking around rather with his best friend. And his suspicions were confirmed, and then she left him for him, and nightmare. Imagine that on top of everything else. Trying to sort your IBS out, and then all that happens. 10x. Right, but that's just, again, is that, going back to the question. So I keep circling back to the question so we stay focused on it. Why do flare-ups or symptoms flare up randomly? It's a difficult one to answer to specifically for you, Stefan, because everybody's different. It depends what you've done and what you're doing currently, and also what you're experiencing. Do you see what I mean? This is like when we work with clients. I say we, the royal we, when CJ works with clients, for example, if she's working with somebody one-on-one through her WhatsApp, then these are the things that she'll be focusing on. It's not just food. It's loads of different stuff, loads of different things. It's that overall view. And yeah, so there is other triggers at hand. You could be, you might have had help with food in the past. For example, you might be It may be that you've gone and seen a dietitian and you've done the low FODMAP process and you have identified your triggers, you've reintroduced your foods, you are squared away food-wise, you are all over it. Maybe you don't even drink alcohol, so that's not causing any issues, or you're sorted out in the what goes in your mouth aspect. But all of a sudden symptoms are flaring up randomly. What's that about? Because it goes back to what I said before, circling back to the stress. Have you got any trauma? Have you got PTSD like I had from Iraq and Kosovo? Have you got any of that going on and that ain't being sorted out? Because if that ain't being sorted out, that's going to have an effect. Speaking from experience from myself, lived through that as well, and other people that I've spoke to. So just bear that in mind. And if you need to get that sorted out, that will have an effect, a positive effect with your IBS management. Do you see what I mean? Everybody thinks it's food, don't they? Everybody's like, oh, do this, eat this, take this supplement, take that supplement. Really? So what about all the veterans out there that have been to Iraq and Afghanistan and they've got post-traumatic stress disorder, whether it's been diagnosed or not? And so many veterans have got IBS. Funny that. You know what I mean? Like myself. And we'll come on to the question in a minute from David with his IBS. So just bear that in mind. That's why that's just something to think about if you're watching this as well. Why are you getting symptoms flaring up randomly? What is the solution then? It's all right, Glenn, you're coming up with all these examples and that's brilliant, but what is the solution? Well, the solution, in my mind and from my experience and with the people that we help, is diagnosis. And as soon as you've got that and you know what it is, go and get the correct management from the best person that you can find, or best people. Do you know what I mean? Because it's going to be the safest option. It's going to be the fastest option. If you pay that premium price and you're willing to put the work in, you're going to get the best outcome, which is what we, I guess, if you want to talk about guarantees, but that's what we do with our clients, just as an example. Next one. So as you can see there then, if you've been struggling with that same thing, you've got that same question flying around, why do symptoms happen? Why do flare-ups happen seemingly at random times, even though you think you're doing everything right? You'll see that there's usually a pattern behind that. There's something, a chain reaction of something or sequence of events that are leading up to that, the triggers. If that helped, drop pattern in the comments, just so I know it's landed and I know these videos, these questions and answers that are helping you. If you've got a question as well that you would like answering, put that in the comments. I read all questions. I don't outsource it to artificial intelligence, even though it's really busy. Whack it in there and I will give it some careful consideration. If it's more requires a clinical expert answer and approach, I will hand that to my wife and business partner, Charlie Jean, and she can deal with that one as well. With that end, the next question and next week's video, look forward to, can I return back to normal? Can I have a normal life with IBS? It's a great question, and it's a question that a lot of people, a lot of men are asking internally, and we're going to unpack that next week. So make sure you subscribe, hit the alerts button, and also, if you've not checked out this video, is going to be really helpful, where we look at another great question for IBS. Check that out, and I'll catch you all next week.